Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Gemini. This is going to be for December 1st to the 7th. And I'm really excited to get into the month of December, Gemini, because of course I'm a Sagittarius. I'm born in December, but also December is a great month for everybody this year, right? It's going to be really like exciting. There's going to be a lot of challenges and changes, but there's also going to be huge opportunities coming in for people out of the blue, and it's going to feel like a really magical month. So let's just see what the romance angel messages are for you this week. We're going to get right into it, Gemini. You have flirt, extend your light-hearted energy to others, forgiving and learning, release and heal. This is a blessing. This is an example of a blessing coming in. We also have, it is safe for you to love. Okay, so really nice messages, honestly. Let's see what your animal spirits are. These messages, they're pretty straightforward, right? We got flirting and healing. We also have letting go in a sense of building your self-confidence, allowing your heart to open up to a possible love connection. So let's see what your animal spirits are going to be for the week, Gemini. Now, animal spirits can be representative of stages in your life or personalities you may be dealing with, or even energies that are becoming available to you to help you through a particular stage in your life, right? And these are animal spirit energies that are available to all of us because they are part of spirits that are part of, you know, the spiritual plane, right? The plane where we come from. So we share the essences, right? We share these commonalities, right? Only that the animals can be they embody certain traits, right? And so in this way, it's their spirit that leads us down a particular path. So let's just see. The deer, we have earth energy here with the deer, and this is the sign of a new mother. Feminine, beautiful, strong feminine energy. We have the rabbit, also earth energy, Gemini. And we have the snake. 3 earth elementals for you, Gemini. So a lot of practicalities this week. A lot of sort of, you know, really being in a material plane, perhaps coming up with solutions to some problems. Very realistic issues this week. Let's indeed get right into it. The deer, of course. The deer is a beautiful, beautiful example of grace and compassion and gentleness, right? The deer is representative of new parents, right? The energy that comes in at the dawn, at the coming of a new birth or the celebration of something new coming into this world, certainly at the birth of a child, of course. This is the feminine aspect of Earth, the strongest, highest card for the feminine aspect of Earth. And this is deer energy comes in at a time in our lives when a particular situation is calling for a lot of compassion and a lot of gentleness. And of course, we have forgiving and learning here. And so it may indeed be that some of the scenarios you're going through this week really call for this sort of energy. Now, the rabbit is an earth element as well, and the rabbit is absolutely petrified. The rabbit is synonymous with being really sort of afraid, overwhelmed, right? Frozen, you know, overwhelmed and then frozen in terms of being unable to make the right decision, unable to move forward. The rabbit has always bemoaning his fate. He feels, you know, he always, you know, even in the wild, you know, if you imagine a rabbit, it's like they're always waiting for something to come and gobble them up, you know. And this is the person around you, perhaps a friend of yours, who's always like complaining. They're always like complaining about their bad luck or their, you know, or their, how they're very pessimistic. They're very apprehensive about everything. They don't trust anything. They can never make a decision also. And therein lies this frozen sort of attitude. They become so frightened sometimes, just like a rabbit, that they become frozen and unable to move. And so it is times like this when, if you're resonating with this energy, you really need to take a step back from everything you're doing and think about your thought patterns, because a lot of times this fear is as a result of sort of a continuous sort of loop of negative self-image or negative thinking, right? Your thinking, of course, shapes your experience of life. And if you're always thinking about negative things, then, this is the energy we sort of whip up for ourselves. And then we feel like, look, I'm totally lost. I'm totally frightened. Well, you've kind of frightened yourself with this consistent sort of way of thinking. If you're dealing with somebody who's resonating with this energy, Gemini, what can I tell you? I mean, you can try to tell them and give them the same sort of advice in a sense to have them just take a step back and cool down, because a lot of this with the rabbit energy is absolutely of its own sort of making and mental temperament. Now the snake is really synonymous with our highest potential energy, right? The snake is earth energy, but in many religions, the snake is oftentimes, of course, in Hindu religion, the snake is seen to be coiled at the base of the spine at the first chakra, indicating our highest potential, right? And so in other cultures and philosophies, oftentimes the snake, talks about the potential of a life, right? The entire potential of a life before it begins again, right? The snake eating the tail. And so the snake is a really powerful, strong sort of potent omen of untapped magical abilities or magic coming into your life and creative ability, right? There is some, you may be resonating or finding out or waking up to a particular skill, a creative skill that you are, highly sort of talented at, right? And this is sort of what we talk about with the snake energy, in a sense, this awakening that happens, this uncoiling of the snake, right? It's coiled, right? And this is the potential energy, but when the uncoiling of it is the realization of that energy. And so this is definitely really, really nice for somebody who is starting off perhaps a new path in creativity or spirituality, right? All right, let's get right into it. Very strong energies. But they're very experiential, right? A lot of the animals, some of the animal spirits are very like sort of, they're predator, they're apex predators, or, they're at the top of the food chain in that sense that they aren't prey. And so their action is to go out into the world. Whereas a lot of these animals, especially with the rabbit and deer, their action is to protect or to be insular, right? And so there's definitely a feeling this week, Gemini, of really being very practical, being very cozy, staying within, maybe withdrawing. You may be dealing with people who are withdrawing, right? There is a lot of forgiving and learning going on with that romance angel message, so it could be that you're going through a healing period this week, Gemini, and you're just not, just in general, you're kind of in the throes of a stage of your life right now where you're really reacting a lot, right? Your moods are kind of being swayed by what's going on around you because of perhaps some healing that you're doing or some family issues that you're dealing with, right? All right, let's pull out your forecast this week, Gemini. This may or may not resonate with you, and if anything doesn't, let it fly. That's fine. Of course, this can't be for all Geminis. And we're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 6 3-card forecasts for your week. And so let's get right into it. We have the 7 of Swords, Dream Thief, the Magician, Page of Cups. All right, so 7 of Swords is the great card for futility. I'm going to say for some of you, Geminis, you come into the week with this feeling of futility, 7 of Swords. It could very well be that you are resonating with a little bit of rabbit energy and snake energy in a really strange way. 7 of Swords is the Dream Thief card, right? This is the card for futility because this person is really trying to cut corners. They want something really, really badly, but they're not really willing to take, the long road or the steps that are necessary. Perhaps they're unwilling to listen to the advice of others. This can also be seen as the card for treachery and those who sort of betray you and take from you, those who steal from their best friends and things of that nature. But I don't know that you're resonating so much with that strong toxic toxic energy like that. I think it's more of a case that you've just recently been feeling very sort of like futile. You've been feeling like things haven't been working out in a particular area, right? Everything that you're trying just doesn't seem to like accomplish what you want. But you come into this week with a magician energy meeting you, and this is going to be someone, I believe, who's going to come to your aid. They're going to very much sort of come and help you rebalance what's going on. I think this is a case of you really being out of balance, Gemini. And this person's going to come into you, and it's going to turn out into a possible love connection with that Page of Cups. You know, it's going to start off possibly as a healing journey, or perhaps just someone who helps you sort of get over the initial, you know, sort of toxic energy associated with this, you know. Which is, you know, I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying that it's like sometimes you have to see why your efforts aren't working, and you find out why is that, you know, there's other reasons there, right, that you have to face up to. But this person is very highly creative, and I think you're really drawn to them, and they're able to sort of really get you to wake up in a lot of ways and show you the magic in life, right? And the magic in you and how to attack things the proper way. And of course, there does end up a possible love connection, or a possible wanting to share an expression of love with each other at some point in the future towards the end of the week. These are just weekly general outlooks on events. 3 of Swords, Tower, and High Priestess. Wow, some of you are going to be, this week is going to be reaffirmation of something you already knew. It's going to be reaffirmation of, you come into the week with a 3 of Swords energy, which is that you are very devastated and heartbroken about somebody's betrayal. You feel as though somebody has really broken your trust, right? And you come into this week, and this week is your Tower moment, Gemini. You come out of it with a High Priestess. And so this is to say, you already had an idea about what was going on here. Now, 3 of Swords energy generally is sort of interpreted as cheating. Yes, it is cheating. It can be cheating. It can be third-party energy. But really what's at the heart of the pain with 3 of Swords is the essence of the card. You know, cheating is just sort of an example of it. But 3 is the number for bonding and loyalty. And so with 3 of Swords, we find ourselves, our heart being pierced because somebody has betrayed us. This means that they told you they loved you, but they didn't. They said something to get your heart to open up, and then you realize that they were lying. Or this can also be someone who just talks to you in such a way that always sort of hurts you, right? They continue to, this is someone who's very sort of emotionally abusive, right? Mentally abusive. They say mean things to you, right? But also, a gross sort of simple example of it is when somebody cheats on you. And this is why this card is oftentimes associated with that. But this is not a cup card. And so this is really not a card so much about relationship, but about ego, because the ego is associated with swords. Swords is the mind and the mental and how we see ourselves. And really the heartache here really comes from feeling like we've been played for a fool. You know, feeling like we've been tricked in some way or duped in some way. Whenever somebody, you know, you're in love with somebody and somebody makes you believe that they love you back, and then if you turn out to be false, there's always this real stab to the ego, as well as our heart. Of course, we're hurt, but there's a real stab to the ego because we feel as though we've been tricked into loving someone. And that's a very painful thing to sort of admit to. And so this is the energy. And I got a moment to explain this because 3 of Swords can be many different sort of scenarios. It doesn't always have to involve somebody else cheating on you. This can also involve being in a relationship with somebody where you realize that they're just going to continue to treat you bad. They're going to continue to sort of like lower your self-esteem, right? And make you have really a bad negative sort of image of yourself, and it's toxic, right? So in any case, you felt this, you've known this, you've come into the week though with this tower moment that hits you, because this week, I believe for some of you, you're going to get the proof of it. Everything that you thought you knew was true, you're going to find the actual proof of it this week. And that's when the devastation comes in, because we always kind of hold out a little glimmer of like, well, maybe I'm wrong. There's no proof, you know? And this is the lesson in learning to listen to our intuition. When we begin to learn to listen to our intuition in the absence of proof, when we know something strongly. Now, this is not, I'm not talking about just believing nutty shit without any sort of evidence, okay? I'm talking about really, you know, using your logic and your wisdom, your experience, your feeling, and all of that to discern a situation and allow your inner voice to be the judge, right? When you do that, you are exercising your intuitive abilities. And so, but this week, you get kind of reaffirmation. You round the week out with a high priestess, because this is your reaffirmation that you were right all along, right? And although it is a tower moment, I think the most important thing to some of you is the fact that you were right all along. And you kind of come out of the week very, very strong and self-confident despite this heartbreak, because the high priestess is the highest card for intuition and also self-confidence. Because when we know we were right about something, when our intuitive voice or gut has been proven to be right, and especially when it's so right, when we knew absolutely what was going on that we had no proof of, but we could really discern a lot of a situation and it would prove incorrect. And perhaps some of the decisions that we made as a result of our intuitive sort of opinion or assessment of the situation proves to have been the right move later on when the proof comes out. That is that kind of feedback loop that is a huge self-confidence booster, which is why the high priestess is also associated with self-confidence. All right, Ace of Wands, Six of Pentacles, and Three of Pentacles. Some of you are coming into this week. You've been starting a great new project. It's awesome. It's a project in creativity. You're met with a Six of Pentacles, and I'm going to say this is a really straightforward reading, Gemini. Some of you are starting a passionate, creative project. You met with this person who is going to probably be a great benefactor. He's probably going to be someone who helps you very much financially. Six of Pentacles talks about the balance of giving and receiving with the world, right? Understanding how much of yourself you want to give to the world and how much of yourself you want to receive, right? It's finding that balance between having too much and not having enough, right? Being willing to accept the help of others, but also being charitable and helping others, right? This is a real sort of harmonious balance in our material world. Six is the number for journeying to harmony. So with Six of Pentacles, this is the stage where someone is, they're a benefactor, they're charitable. They may have a lot of money, but they're happy to give a lot of money away. And you meet this person and round it off the week with the Three of Pentacles in a sense that your project is off to a great start. I think this may be an investor that you meet or someone who wants to tap into your creative potential and see you flourish. This is going to be a really nice kind of like business meeting, right? But it's going to be a business meeting to help you sort of achieve something that you have always wanted to achieve, or at least achieve something that right now you are extremely passionate about, and that is absolutely going to be tapping into your creative, your highest creative ability. Nine of Cups, Two of Cups, and Knight of Wands. All right, so no more Wands energy. Nine of Cups talks about somebody who is indeed very blessed, right? It's wish fulfillment. Somebody who's really had a lot of their wishes come true. They've had a lot of blessings in terms of having good friendships and good relationships, good family relationships, right? However, the Nine of Cups, like all of the 9 cards, has inherent within an essence of the Hermit. And so here, there's always that elusive sort of deeper connection with the one person that you can go on with your life with, right? Yes, you're happy. The Nine of Cups is a card about happiness, certainly, and contentment. And yes, you are happy, and yes, you've had a lot of blessings, but this true union is what you desire now so that you can elevate up to the 10 of Cups. And this week, you meet someone, right? Two of Cups talks about meeting somebody in a very balanced way, you two coming together. Both of you are wanting to share a cup of love with each other. It is a balanced union, right? It's it has the potential, right? Again, we see the snake indicating potential. It's the potential for being extremely emotionally healthy and positive for both of you. You round out the week with a Knight of Wands, which is, I think you have a decision that you want to move forward with this sort of connection. I think it starts off this week, maybe something as simple as a cup of coffee, or you meet each other at a bar or at a restaurant or at an event that you may be going to, or a party, right? You may be going to the theater or the movies or something. You know what I mean? You're out and about. It's the holiday season. You kind of get, and again, you are very blessed in the sense, I imagine you're probably doing a lot of socializing and stuff, but you bump into this person. And it's really kind of like, oh, wow, Knight of Wands, in the sense that, you really want to go forward with it. It seems to be a very sort of passionate kind of affair, right? Could also be for some of you Geminis on the side. I do feel this Knight of Wands may be somebody who sees you connect with someone and they're coming back into you, okay? They may come back because they see you making this connection and they're like, uh-oh, wait a minute, I'm about to lose my Gemini with this. I can see them. They're really having a lot of fun, and it's like, uh-oh. For some of you, that may indeed be it. But for some of you, it'll also be just you wanting to sort of move forward with this connection unimpeded. But some of you, there is a strong feeling for me now that this person is someone who they're very fiery and they're very sort of like quick, to come in, and they can be perhaps a little bit possessive, but they're also this could be somebody who's very, very passionate about you, and they don't like seeing you with somebody else. This is going to be the last spread. Emperor, Six of Swords, okay, and Five of Pentacles. Some of you are coming into this week, I want to say, with a sense of taking back your authority in a particular situation. It's really strange, you come into the week with Emperor energy, and this is really this is authority. You're at the leadership sort of position in a particular area in your life. I'm gonna say this is probably at work, okay? This is a very odd. Now, bear with me, Gemini. I believe you come in strong this week, but what's going to happen is that you come into a situation probably at work or in your career or business, and you just decide that you've had enough. You're the boss, you're in charge, but you come in and you decide that you've had enough because you're met with a Six of Swords. And Six of Swords is a journey towards harmony in the sense of not wanting to have stress anymore, not wanting to argue and fight anymore, not wanting to constantly have to battle sort of, people and egos. And it's like some of you, this is a real big week for some of you. And this could be an example of one of the big blessings coming in December. This week for you, Gemini, because this is almost like for you, I want to say, you decide to leave it behind so strongly that you come out the week with a Five of Pentacles in the sense that there is a shift, a divide. You actually leave carrying your bag out into the street. It's like where you were once the leader, you choose to sort of give it all up and just leave. It's like if somebody if the boss came into the office one day and just went into his office and packed everything up and then opened up the door, and instead of wearing the suit that he was wearing when he came in, he's wearing flip-flops and a Hawaiian t-shirt, and he has a box of his shit, and he says, adios, everybody, I'm done with this, and he leaves. He knows that leaving is putting him in a situation that may affect his finances. He's just, you know what I mean? But it's like you step down from a position of authority this week in a particular area in your life because you're just not happy with it. And you're willing to take the sacrifice for being sort of poor perhaps or having less for a little while because ultimately it's for your betterment. Five of Pentacles always shows up in a situation that was going to come apart anyway. But this was always going to happen. But the Five of Pentacles, when it comes in, regardless of how the divide happened, how the split happened, the power struggle happened, you do end up a little bit worse off financially for a short term. But this is almost always a removal of bigger obstacles to better futures. It's like you take 2 steps backwards here for a second, but then when you're done with the situation, you take 10 or 20 or 30 steps forward. And those are steps forward that you're taking that you would have never been able to take had you stayed in the dynamic that you were in before, right? So this is a kind of a necessary hardship or tragic kind of period of growth you have to go through before you actually are meant for much greater things. And you choose for that this week, Gemini, because some of you have some kind of, you either have an epiphany or you have an awakening and you just realize that what you're doing is not who you are. All right, Gemini, I'm going to call it. This is your weekly, December 1st to the 7th. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. There are links to your 2020 outlook below. There is links to your monthly love reading for December and a bunch of other readings, so please check those out. Go ahead and leave me a comment. I love those comments. And for right now, I'm just going to say, Gemini, have a wonderful, wonderful first week of December. Bye-bye.